My friend, Katie Brown, I had to ask her what program she used, but then I used Pinterest.
Cool.
So anyways, those are my tips.
Yeah, I noticed like when you finally did get to the cost, you, instead of saying it's $130, you said it breaks down to about $4 for a meal.
Yeah.
And it kind of puts it in perspective.
Right. And then another tip that I sometimes do if people say no is I tell them, like, I'll be like, hey, we already have our PIO after our group is already like really exciting right now. So I tell them, I'll add you in the group so you can check it out and look it over. And then I'll add them in there just for like an hour and tag them in a couple things, and then I'll take them out. Because sometimes people really want to like a little taste of like, is there really a challenge group? What's going on? And when they see that, they get kind of excited, and then I take them out.
Awesome. Cool. I don't know if the guys that were at Summit, if you guys went to one of the trainings, was Overcoming Objections with Mike Ryan and Tommy Migrant. So I watched that video again today and like took some notes. So they kind of talk about first like defining what an objection is. So what objections are not they're not a final answer. They're not a final no. I think a lot of times when someone tells us no or gives us an objection, we're like, okie dokie, see ya, and then we move on, right? They're not insurmountable, and they're not a reason to get nervous. What an objection is a speed bump. It's just something that is showing you that you need to slow down and ask questions like Annie said, and really get to like talking about how they're gonna feel and the reason that they're gonna get out of this, like the why they're gonna get out of this. And then the next thing they talked about was objections are really, they're just uncertain about what they're getting. And it's more of like it might be a lack of trust, because a lot of times they've just met you. And the one thing that I would like really thought was cool was how they talked about the what, the how, and the why. So the what is the product, the how is how you find them, social media, and the why is why you're doing the challenge group, why you're using the programs. And so this is kind of like a science thing that for some reason I enjoy learning about. But the neocortex, which is part of the brain, is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. But the limbic part of the brain is responsible for our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision making, and it has no capacity for language, which is crazy to me that the part of the brain that is in charge of decision making has no capacity for language. So talking about like what the program is about and the scientific part of it isn't going to help them with the decision. What really is going to get them to make that decision is the part of the brain that is attached to the why, to their feeling, the part of the brain that has the feeling, which Annie does a really good job about, like talking to them and asking them how it would feel to lose those 30 pounds. Once you attach to that part of the brain, then they're going to be a lot more likely to figure out how to afford it. So I thought that was really cool. Couple other things I got. So the other thing they said was another way to prevent objections. The 7 R's of Beachbody they talk about: rapport, relationships, recommendations, retail, recruiting, and then you retain them. But it all starts with rapport and relationships. You can't just jump right into retailing. You got to start with the rapport. And that's what, obviously, looking at Annie's message, she went the extra mile. And there's no script for that stuff, you know? You just got to ask them questions.
Can you repeat that really quick?
Yeah, it's rapport, relationships, recommendations, retail, recruit, retain. Rapport, relationships, recommendations, retail, recruit, retain, in that order. And then one line that I thought was really good was, be more interested than interesting. I think that's kind of a hard thing to do, because on social media, we're always trying to be like, create these really cool and interesting posts. But when it comes to a private conversation with someone, be more interested in them than interesting. always focus on the relationship first. And then, so those are like things that are going to help you, avoid or prevent some of these objections. And then it's inevitable. You're going to have objections. And like Annie said, if you're getting objections, that means you're doing something right. So what is an objection though? It's really just an excuse. When they're giving you an objection, they're measuring their excuse versus your belief. Which is bigger, their excuse or your belief? Which one's stronger? And so that's why it's so important to be proof the products work. And it's important for you to really, do you believe in the value of Shakeology? Do you believe in the value of a challenge pack? Do you believe in the value of getting in that support group, a challenge group? If your belief is stronger than the excuse that they come up with, you're going to figure out a way to help them get around it. And then there are a couple things here. So overcoming, a couple little bullet points ahead. Validate and overcome versus getting defensive or giving up. So if they have something that they're, if they say that the objection is money, rather than getting defensive or giving up, validate it and say, you know what? I know exactly how you feel. When I first started, I couldn't imagine paying $130 for Shakeology, but I knew there was a bottom of the bag guarantee and I had nothing to lose. And I tried it and my body responded to it so well. And I actually now save money on food because it's one of my full meals. It keeps me full for 3 to 4 hours and I just feel a lot better. So I'm saving money. I have more energy, but I know how you feel. In the beginning, I felt that way, but there is a bottom of the bag guarantee. So you have nothing to lose. So validate their concern. And then let's see. And then having a plan is good too. Having a plan versus just kind of winging it. Kind of having a plan, like some of these tips we're throwing at you now, kind of having something that you can kind of lean on when you have an objection. So you're not totally thrown off track. Let's see. Using a story versus explaining and giving facts. And this goes back to what I was talking about, the different, the part of the brain that's in charge of decision-making, which is also the part of the brain that is connected to feeling. So using a story rather than giving facts. So instead of just talking about the science behind the products, use a story. Like the story I just talked about, how I feel with Shakeology, or talking about how working out is something you have to do, and it makes you a better mother, because if you don't work out, you're not as happy of a person. That's a story. Now you're connecting with their why, with what they're feeling, what they're gonna get. Okay, this is gonna make me happier. This is gonna make me a better mother, rather than there's dynamic stretching and all these scientific terms. Asking questions versus avoiding conflict. So a lot of times when people have an objection, it's really easy to feel you want to avoid conflict. You don't want, if they say that it's too much money, it's easier to just kind of give up and avoid any type of conflict. But like Annie said, asking questions is a great way to figure out how you can use your strength of your belief to overcome their excuses, rather than avoiding altogether and being okie dokie, see you later, and moving on. And the question I use all the time is, what's holding you back? What is it that's holding you back? A lot of times they really don't have a valid excuse. It's just once you can get down to what really is holding them back, and then you can help them see what this challenge group will do to get around whatever's holding them back and the value they're going to get out of it, then it's the money, they'll figure out a way to pay for it. It's just like someone who loves a house. People, when they see a house they want, they walk into the house and they're like, I love it, I want it. That's not a rational thought. It's how they feel. And then they rationalize it by figuring out ways to afford it. But it all starts with a feeling. That's all I got. So does anyone have any tips on objections? I know some of you guys had some good stuff when I commented in the group about tips for overcoming money objections.
I was going to say one more thing, Pat, is since we're coming on the end of the month, I don't know about you guys, but usually this is when I'm inviting throughout the month, and then the last week is usually when people will start to actually get the program, because you're sort of coming at the end of when you can. So you want to create urgency too. Like you want to say, our challenge group is filling up. I only have a couple spots left. We honestly only have like 3 days left for them to order the challenge pack and get it here with enough time to be able to go over it, on the weekend. The holidays here, so that takes away a couple of days from shipping to have it ready, and we're ready to go on December 1st. So you really want to create that urgency right now for the next couple of days, and that will sort of those people that are on the fence, they might jump over because of you've talked to them, you've asked all those questions, and all they need is that little extra push of knowing that it's ending, and you need to fill up the group. So
that's really good. The girl that messaged me today, she was like, hey, if you have any spots left, I'd like to get in your group, because I had like stressed that to her, so she was a little quicker to jump in. But I have a couple things to share, so I'll go ahead and share with you guys. I had posted a couple of things in the coaching group. So one of the main things that I try to do is show people how easily they spend $4 a day. So one of the scripts or things that I say is, I understand having to be careful where I spend my money, but the one thing I can tell you is investing in yourself and your health and nutrition is money well spent. Not only are you going to be able to focus on your goals, but you're going to be benefiting everyone around you by being a better mother or father, because you're happier, have more energy, healthier, and your nutrition needs are being met. So that's super important. And like I said, I understand $4 a day is a lot, but how many times a day do you go into a gas station and grab a water and a pack of gum? That's over half the daily price. So a lot of times I'm talking to people that they'll run in, or a salad is $6 at work or something like that. I try and show them how easily they're spending the money. And then the other thing, especially because I talk to a lot of moms and a lot of women, is I try and mirror it to their kids. So I asked them well, would you feed your kids hot dogs and chicken nuggets and potato chips and stuff all day? And they say no. I'm well, why would you not want to? You deserve to have optimum nutrition as well. You're setting a good example for your kids. You deserve this as well. So you want your, body to be doing the same thing. That's what I got.
Awesome. Cool. I actually wanted Caroline to just share one thing, and then we'll jump back into Alyssa's going to talk a little bit about, once you do get someone that does purchase a challenge pack, how to help them get the most out of it. But first, I just wanted Caroline to just share for a minute or two, a couple minutes, what kind of switch went off for her between when she was at the retreat a few weeks ago and now. Are you still on the call, Caroline?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. It's all yours.
I went to the retreat. I posted a video on the coaching group that I'm sure most of you saw. I went to the retreat a month ago this weekend, kind of unsure about my business. I've been a coach since January. I've had a lot of work stuff going on, personal stuff going on. And if it wasn't for Pat basically talking to me on the phone every week, I probably would have quit weeks ago. And I went to the retreat and talked to all these amazing coaches that I've looked up to on Facebook so much, Amy, Andrea, Shauna, Bridget, Michelle, Joe, all these people that just seem to have it so not easy, but be able to just have great coaching careers. And I talked to them and learned so much from each of them that I just hadn't thought about before, and really just learned it's not that difficult. If I just stopped making excuses and stopped just being stupid and just wasting my time, that I could do this too. So I came back and I hadn't set a goal. I was Emerald coach, but I only had 3 active coaches, and I hadn't set a goal for Diamond because I really didn't want to let down my coach. And I really honestly didn't think it was possible. And I got back and I set a goal for December 19th to hit Diamond, because it's when I go back to home to my family. And I was I want to do it before then. And I really honestly was this isn't going to happen, but whatever, I'll make Pat and Amy happy and set a date. And I literally every day after work got home and just worked and worked and worked. And I have fallen in love with this business in the last 4 weeks. And this is all I want to do. And like, not that I'm dreading going to work every day because I love my full-time job, but like I'm like looking at the clock at like 4:45 and be like, can I leave yet? Because I want to go home and do Beachbody stuff. I mean, the impact that Team Boom Retreat has had on my life is huge. These people are amazing. And it's really, I thought it was so hard. Like I thought what they were doing was so difficult, and it's just doing what Pat has drills into us all the time, just doing the 3 vital behaviors. But it's not that difficult. And I like literally, I'll be like standing in the line to go for security at the airport, or I'll be in the bathroom. It sounds bad, be in the bathroom, but I'll be inviting just random times throughout the day. And I've been getting over 100 invites in every day, like just doing them random times. I'm not just sitting down and doing invites. And personal development has been a huge change for me. I'm reading probably an hour and a half every day. And I know everyone says you only need to do 10 minutes, but this is changing my life. It's not just changing my business. So tomorrow I'll be a diamond coach, and I owe it all to all the coaches at the Team Boom Retreat. Because if I hadn't gone, I probably would still be sitting here. I wouldn't be sitting here because I never got on these calls before the Team Boom Retreat. So, but I would either have quit being a coach, or I would be sitting here still with just 3 coaches, just plugging along, not knowing what was going on in my business. So thank you to all of you who impacted me so greatly at the retreat. And I'm looking forward to next year greatly.
Congrats on Diamond. An early congratulations. I don't know if I can condone bathroom invites, but it helps you get to Diamond. I guess it's cool.
We've all done it.
But I want to ask you one question, Caroline, and then Alyssa's going to talk, and then we're going to let people ask questions and share some of their own ideas on some of this stuff. But Caroline, so you said at 4:45, you look at the clock and you're excited to go do Beachbody, like invites and stuff. And I'm assuming that it wasn't always like that. What makes you like so excited to do those little like invites and follow-ups?
I mean, to just see how the impact I'm making on other people's lives. I mean, there are people who are messaging me who're getting their programs and are just saying that like I'm changing their life, like are messaging me constantly like your posts are so inspirational. And it's been the past few weeks. I mean, it was somewhat before then, but like every day now I have someone messaging me, multiple people messaging me like you're so motivational, you're so inspirational. And like that's fun to be impacting people. Like, yeah, it's nice to be making extra income, but like honestly, I have a good job. Like I don't need the extra money. But to have people tell me that I'm making such a big impact on their life, like that's incredible to me. And I want that so much. I mean, I don't know if you guys know what I do. I work in television, and yeah, that's all fun. And like, I have a lot of good perks with that, but like, I'm not helping anybody. Like I'm putting golf on TV. Like that's not helping anybody. But to have people tell me, like one of my coaches told me that she was thinking about committing suicide, and that one of my posts made her rethink that, like something like that. Like you can't put a price on that. So, I mean, that's what it's all about. And that's why I want to come home every night and work on it. And I mean, it means the world to me. So I love it a lot. I'm excited for next.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've always like say that I don't remember anyone who I did their taxes and they told me that I inspired them. But so I hear you on that. Cool. Thanks so much, Caroline. So I hope you can stick around because I'm sure some people might have some questions after. But Alyssa, do you want to kind of talk a little bit about what you do once you'd have someone order a challenge pack from you?
Sure. So this presentation I'm going to do, I went over this at the retreat, and it's in a document that you can find in your coach group. If it's not in your coach group, it's found in the Boom Fam. You can save it and just post it in your group. A lot of the information I got from this document that I formed is from attending Summit. One of them was creating loyal Shakeology customers and what to say, because really Shakeology holds the highest PV and TV, team volume, for our downline. And it's also not a short-term fix. It's important to explain to people that, hey, if they want to lose 50 pounds, 1 month of Shakeology isn't going to do it. It's a lifestyle change, and by explaining how important Shakeology is, they're more likely to be on it every month. So I'll share my screen.